Hello everybody. Tonight I'm going to be doing a full video walkthrough on how to set up and configure PlayStation 1 emulator. Now, the first step is you'll want to do, of course, is now you'll want to go to this website right here. You'll want to go to epsxe.com. I'll leave a link in the description for this website, and when you, of course, first get on this website, you'll be greeted with this page right here. But what you want to do is you want to go over here to this blue box and click on downloads, and once you're here, you'll want to download the first one at the top of this page, version 2.0.5 Windows, if that's the version of PC you got. So you want to go ahead and download this, and then you want to click OK. The next step is open up the folder. Now, once you do that, you want to go ahead and open it. Alright, now all these file folders are basically empty. So what you want to do is when you first open up the zip folder, is you'll want to create a new folder. You can create it anywhere. I have mine stored in my documents, but you want to go ahead and create new folder, and you can name it whatever you want. Let's just go ahead and name this P1. Okay, just whatever. Alright, so now that you have your P1, go ahead and open it. Alright, next step is you'll want to drag all of this stuff and into your new folder. Now, as I said again, you could place the folder anywhere you want. It's just safest, in my opinion, in documents. Alright, now that you have that, you want to click out of that, and then now you'll have this. Now, I don't use covers, and I usually just get rid of these, but you can do whatever you want them. Alright, the most important folders you want to be paying attention to here. Now that you've got this, the first thing you want to focus on is the plugins. Yeah, it always has this random thing in here. I have no idea what that is. Alright, so I usually just delete that, but anyway. Alright, now that you're in your plugins folder, you'll want to go open up your browser again, and you'll want to head over to this site right here. I'll also leave a link in the description for this site as well. And first thing you want to do is make sure you go to the Psx Gpu Plugins, and what you want to download is PD's OpenGL2 Psx GPU version 2.9. Then you want to get that, and you want to click OK. And then you want to open up this. Now, still in your plugins in your P1 folder, you'll want to go ahead and open up this zip file. Now there's really no reason for you to read this unless you want to, I guess, because it's pointless, because I'm showing you how to do this. So if you're following this guide that I'm doing, you don't really need to. I guess you could look at that, but that's just a version log basically. So you don't really need to read the README. So you just want to pay attention to this right here, the GPU PD OpenGL2.dill, DLL, and you just want to go ahead and place that in there. Now that you have this, you're going to want to open up your browser again. Click back on that, I suppose. Go ahead and open up your browser again, go back to this site. Next step is you'll need to go to the sound plugins, which is Psx Gpu Plugins. Don't do the old ones. Alright, now that you're on this, you want to download the first one you see right here. Psx D Sound Audio SPU version 1.9. Go ahead and save that. And then you want to go ahead and open up that folder and just kind of repeat the process, and just pay attention to the middle one and just place it in your folder. Now you have your sound plugin. Next one, you want to go and head back over to this browser. Now you got your basic GPU and your basically your I guess, yeah, this is the basics, I guess. Alright, now you can you can look through this more if you want, but that's it for this site. Alright, now we'll need the controller plugin. And the one I most recommend using, that I use and it served me well, that I had the most trouble with today recently, is you want to go to this site here. I'll also leave a link in the description for this site as well. Alright, now once you're on this site, you want to go right here and click download. And once you're in this area here, you want to go down to the one that says Poco Palm v2.1.5 zip, and you want to download this one right here. You want to right click with your mouse and click on the download button here at the bottom, and then that will open up this file, and you want to click OK. And now we just go open up the folder location and open up the zip and place this dill in your plugins folder. Alright, so that's it for the plugins for now. Alright, now as for the BIOS, for legal reasons, I can't show you what's in this folder or give you a link for them or anything like that. That is something you're going to have to figure out for yourself. I do apologize, but that's all I can say about the BIOS. For the memory cards, I'll just leave a link in the description so you can download it from my Meka account, so you can get the memory cards, and then just place the memory cards in this folder right here. Now, as for ISOs, that's something you also have to do for yourself. Alright, so that's it for the plugins. The first thing you want to do, now, this is a tricky one. I mean, it's not really tricky, but anyway, what you want to do before you go ahead and launch this, first thing you want to do is go here, right click, and click on Properties, and click on Compatibility, and then you want to click on this, check this, Override High DP Scaling Behavior, Scaling Performed by, you want to have it by application, okay? Not system or system enhanced, by the application itself, and you want to click Apply and click OK. Now, after you've done that, now you can go ahead and open it up. Yeah, I have it in 4K. That's probably why it looks small. But anyway, but trust me, that's a good thing. Believe me. Because what that does basically is allows you to play the games in full scaling, which means it allows you to play them in 1080p without it being like way zoomed in. Like if you choose, well, let's just get in here and do this wizard thing and start the guide process, and I'll just show you through that. Alright, so now that you've launched it, what you want to go and do is just the easiest thing to do would just go to wizard guide, and then you're greeted with this welcome to the epsxe config setup. Alright, now you want to go to config. Alright, now we're configuring the BIOS, and if you've got the BIOS, you want to go ahead and click this one, the one that says recommended. And then, of course, you want to choose the plugin that you've got, which is 2.9, that one right there, and you want to go to config. Alright, now once you're on this screen, I have mine already all set up. It saves it, I guess, even if you download it again. Alright, so now what you want to do on this is you see I have it set in 4K, but you can change it to whatever resolution that works best for you. And you want to have this on 32-bit if it's not already on 32-bit, and you want to use this. Use window size and full screen mode widescreen fix. If you're using widescreen, honestly, I don't really notice any difference really if you use it. I've never really tried, but I'd recommend checking the box anyway. Now you can you have two options here. You can use windowed mode, so you can play on windowed, and then we got the full screen mode, which is what I'm using. Alright, now to this one. Depending on how good your computer is, if you have a decent computer, that's something you'll probably have to test for yourself. You know, if you have a really good computer, you know, with an NVIDIA card, or like say a 1070, 1060, or probably even a 980 or whatever, but whatever NVIDIA card, you'll be good to go. As long as you have at least 8 gigs of RAM, I would say you could run it all on very high, and then you can set all these really high if you have a decent enough computer. Other than that, if you just have if you're playing on a laptop, which is completely different. I have a desktop, so anyway, I would just recommend for, you know, if your computer can't handle it, the recommended one I would choose is for these two would be for this one to be on high. Oh, and this one to be on high as well. And as for the stretching mode, I recommend using stretch to full window size standard. That's the one I recommend you using for that. And for render mode, just I use this one and it works great. So just this is the one I would recommend using. 0. Render to pbuffer texture standard. That's good. Now for the texture filtering, if you want, I would go with this one right here. It's the best one in my opinion that I've really struggled with trying to figure out which one is until I finally did. So I would recommend using this one. And for the high-res textures, I just leave that on none, because all you really need is the texture filtering, because honestly, I think this actually makes PlayStation 1s look jiggly in my opinion for some reason. So I just leave that on none, unless you want to go bigger, but it doesn't really look that great on a anyway, so I just leave that on none. I recommend that. And again, this is if you have a really good computer, you can have this all maxed out, just like the internal X and Y resolutions. Other than that, I would just go with standard, which is okay for most games. And for this one, I just go with standard or minimum. I just go with standard because that's the best one for that. But other than that, if you have a great computer or a decent enough computer, you can just max all this stuff out. You can max it all out. And for this, I do this one. If you max it out. Other than that, if your computer can't handle that one, it slows down too much, you can always go to standard, which will work great. Now for this, the full screen filters. Yeah, if you want a nice full screen filter, although I don't really notice anything, but yeah, go ahead and check that box. It's good. All right, and now for this one, I just leave this alone. And if that's not already checked, or if they're all checked, uncheck them all and just leave this one checked right here, and then you're good to go. And that's it. That's it for the config. And then you go to next. Now this is the sound driver, so you want to go ahead and click this one right here. And now I just mostly leave this alone. But you want to check it in the config just in case, because you want to have it set up like this: high compatibility mode, timer, event, slower. this one here. And then the volume, yeah, that's your choice, I guess. And just have this set to the best quality. And then the interpolation, just have this set to good quality. You know, honestly, it sounds great anyway, so you don't really need to mess with this unless you have to, if it's not set up like this already when you get it for the first time, and you want to enable this and enable that and just leave all this alone. Unless you want to mess around with it, that's your choice. Okay, and that's that for that. But other than that, mostly just, you can just leave that alone. I mean, I never really messed with it, so it's probably just the way it stays. So, alright, now we're going to the now the one you want to choose for this is the one that it's already on. This one right here. Just go ahead and leave it on that and then click next. Now for the controllers, the way I recommend setting these up is not by doing it through this wizard guide, but through the button tab right here that says config, and going to input port 1, and then you have your PokePalm, and you want to go to configure. Now here's what you want to do for this. Now I have mine. You want to leave the dead zone to 0, trust me, it makes a huge help, and the anti-dead zone 0, and I have this all the way up on 4, so I would recommend it. You know, I had a lot of trouble with that today, and I'm glad I figured that out. The linearity of it, yeah. Now, when you first click into this, if this isn't already on LX, which means left stick X axis, you want to have this on LX and this on LY, and the same vice versa, RX and RY for that. Alright, and then we have up here the default mode. I have it set to digital, because for some games some games only work with digital. But honestly, and you can either set that to analog or digital, whatever your preference is for that. But joystick works either way, really. Joystick can act as the D-pad, so you don't have to use the D-pad for that, and analog just kind of does the same thing. So, and then we have the controller 2 here. We also have multi-tap down here, but it requires a restart, and I haven't really seen that doesn't seem to work with the particular controller I have. But depending on if you don't have a turbo control, I have a turbo controller, and it's weird. It's USB weird. It's weird. It connects weird, I guess. But depending on what controller you have, that multi-tapping will make the controller not work. So I just leave that blank. Now, if you have any questions down in the comments on how to set it up with 4-player multi-tap, you have to use the core plugin for that. Particularly with my controller that I have to use the core one set up for that. If you want to play 4-player multiplayer, other than that, it should be fine. If you're just wanting to play by yourself, I would just use this plugin right here. I'd highly recommend it. Bad. Alright, and now we go on to options. Now we have this down here. We have CPU overclocking. I just set that to ×1. You know, it works fine. And I have this set to fast. And then we have the GTE hacks, which here's your widescreen hack. And now this is always checked, which I'm not really sure what that does, but I just leave that checked. And then you can either play in widescreen, but keep in mind, checking this will make it go to game go to widescreen. Probably not every game. I don't think every game does. But it also, you know, it causes rendering problems on the sides for most games, especially Spyro in particular. But it's worth it for the extra widescreenness. Alright, and that's it. Now, I can't really show you anywhere to download games or anything like that, but I will show you what it will look like. The reason why chose the Spyro as the show-off game for how it works and stuff, just because for the recent Spyro hype, which I will be doing some Spyro stuff. Alright, so there we go. Everything works great. So that's that. Alright, so that's it for the full guide and tutorial on how to set all this up from scratch and how to get it to work great. And now if you have any questions about anything like shaders and also if you have any questions about how to set up the PEC, which is PlayStation Emulator Cheater. If you have any questions on how to set that up as well, just let me know. Just let me know if you have any questions about those in the comments below, and I'll make a video on how to do those things too.